Witches, wizards, squibs, and muggleborns, welcome to the ultimate Harry Potter film timeline breakdown, where we compress a decade of cinematic wizardry, heartbreak, and Horcrux hunting into one delightfully nerdy video. I'm your host, and today we journey from Euro-wizard Harry to All Was Well, with a generous dash of sarcasm, butterbeer, and time-turner-induced chaos. Buckle your broomsticks. Let's dive into the complete timeline of the Harry Potter film franchise from start to bittersweet end. Year 1980 to 1981, The Boy Who Lived is born and Voldemort falls. It's July 31st, 1980, and Lily and James Potter, key members of the Order of the Phoenix, welcome their son Harry James Potter. The prophecy made by Sybil Trelawney foretells that a child born at the end of July will be capable of defeating Voldemort. This prophecy is overheard partially by Severus Snape, who relays it to Voldemort, unknowingly setting tragedy in motion. Voldemort, obsessed with avoiding death, marks Harry as his equal by choosing him over Neville Longbottom. His decision is driven by arrogance, believing a half-blood would be less dangerous than a pure blood. That fatal underestimation leads to his downfall. On October 31st, 1981, the Dark Lord murders James and Lily Potter, but Lily's sacrificial love creates a magical protection so profound that Voldemort's killing curse backfires, destroying his body and leaving Harry with a lightning bolt scar and a soul connection. The magical world celebrates Voldemort's apparent defeat, unknowingly setting the stage for a much longer war. Dumbledore, aware of ancient blood magic, places Harry with the Dursleys, his only remaining family, under a powerful protective enchantment. Thus begins The Boy Who Lived's harsh upbringing in the Muggle world, shaped by neglect and abuse, yet molded into resilience. Meanwhile, the Wizarding world enters a period of uneasy peace. Former Death Eaters like Lucius Malfoy claim they were under the Imperius curse, and the Ministry, desperate to believe the nightmare is over, lets many of them walk free. This refusal to deal with systemic issues will haunt them later when Voldemort inevitably returns. Behind the scenes, remnants of the First Wizarding War still simmer. The Longbottoms, Neville's parents, are tortured into madness by Bellatrix Lestrange and her fellow Death Eaters. This act of cruelty isn't just an isolated tragedy, but a chilling preview of the terror still to come. 1991, Philosopher's Stone, The Magical Awakening. 11 years later, after enduring the Dursleys' parenting Regikai involuntary servant internship, Harry receives his Hogwarts letter. This marks his escape into a world where he's not just a boy, he's a legend. On the Hogwarts Express, he meets Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. These friendships become the emotional core of the series, evolving through conflicts, loyalty, and countless near-death experiences. Ron, raised in a big, loving wizard family, brings heart and humor. Hermione, brilliant and muggle-born, constantly proves she's the most competent witch of her age, even when everyone doubts her. Their first year includes battling a troll, discovering the Mirror of Erised, sneaking past a Cerberus named Fluffy, and learning that their professor has Voldemort's face sticking out the back of his head. Through it all, we witness Harry's moral compass. He refuses to seek glory, choosing instead to protect others. The Philosopher's Stone subplot also reveals Dumbledore's tendency to test students in ethically murky ways. And here's some historical magic. Hogwarts itself was founded over 1,000 years ago by Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. Their legacy echoes through every corridor, especially the ideological clash between Gryffindor and Slytherin. A rift that still defines much of the series' conflict. The Sorting Hat, imbued with the essence of the founders, remains a symbol of legacy, identity, and choice. By the end of the film, Harry, Ron, and Hermione prove that courage, friendship, and selflessness are more powerful than ambition or brute force. Their bond is sealed not just in fire and adventure, but in loyalty that will withstand the darkest days ahead. Also worth noting, Dumbledore awards them house points at the end that suspiciously push Gryffindor to victory. Thus begins a long-standing Hogwarts tradition of headmaster favoritism. 1992, Chamber of Secrets, Snakes, Secrets, and Slytherin shenanigans. As year 2 begins, Harry returns to Hogwarts despite Dobby's intense campaign of chaos, which includes enchanted bludgers and a rogue pudding. He's also dealing with wizarding fame, whispers of being the heir of Slytherin, and the isolation that comes with being able to talk to snakes. The legend of the chamber dates back to Salazar Slytherin himself. He supposedly built the secret chamber to be opened by his heir, containing a monster that would purge the school of Muggleborns. This belief in blood purity still echoes through families like the Malfoys. Ginny Weasley, in her first year, falls under the influence of Tom Riddle's diary, a Horcrux created by Voldemort as a teenager. This introduces the concept of Horcruxes for the first time, though its full importance won't be revealed until much later. Harry's battle with the Basilisk, aided by Fawkes the Phoenix and the Sorting Hat, proves his worth as a true Gryffindor. He also shows immense bravery and self-sacrifice, risking his life to save someone he barely knows. The destruction of the diary marks the first Horcrux destroyed, unknowingly weakening Voldemort further. The year ends with Dobby's freedom, granted through a sock in the most dramatic laundry-based liberation in literary history. Harry's respect for all beings, magical or otherwise, is a recurring theme that defines his character throughout the saga. 1993, Prisoner of Azkaban, Time Turners, and Troubled Uncles. Year 3 introduces emotional complexity, deepening lore, and fan-favorite characters. Sirius Black, said to be a loyal Death Eater who betrayed the Potters, has escaped Azkaban, the most secure wizarding prison, guarded by soul-sucking dementors, but things are never what they seem. We meet Professor Lupin, who not only becomes the best defense against the dark arts teacher, but a vital mentor for Harry. Through him, Harry learns the Patronus Charm, a spell symbolic of inner strength and positive memory. Lupin also embodies themes of otherness, stigma, and quiet heroism. As a werewolf, he's shunned by society despite his talent and goodness. The Marauders map is introduced, a magical object created by 4 mischievous students: Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. Spoiler alert, that's Lupin, Peter Pettigrew, Sirius Black, and James Potter. Their backstory adds rich texture, revealing the deep friendship and eventual betrayal that defined the Marauders era. The Time Turner subplot allows us to witness events from multiple angles. Harry and Hermione rescue Buckbeak and Sirius, rewriting fate in one of the most mind-bending sequences of the series. The twist: Sirius is innocent. Peter Pettigrew, who faked his own death, is alive as Ron's pet rat. Cue collective horror. This movie is a turning point for Harry's identity. He doesn't just want revenge. He wants truth, justice, and family. When Sirius offers him a home, it's more than an escape from the Dursleys. It's hope. The offer is short-lived but powerful. It establishes Harry's emotional arc as one fueled not by power but connection. 1994, Goblet of Fire, Triwizard Trauma. 4th year dials everything up: danger, hormones, and stakes. The Triwizard Tournament, a centuries-old competition, returns to Hogwarts. Delegations from Beauxbatons and Durmstrang arrive, adding cultural complexity to the wizarding world. Harry's name is mysteriously entered into the Goblet of Fire, forcing him to compete. The Ministry refuses to believe he didn't do it. Here begins their long pattern of gaslighting him. The tournament's 3 deadly tasks push Harry to his limits. He faces a Hungarian Horntail, rescues his friends from the Black Lake, and navigates a living maze that tests his instincts and courage. Alongside him is Cedric Diggory, Hufflepuff heartthrob and all-around good guy. The Yule Ball gives us drama and development. Hermione and Victor Crumb turn heads, Ron seethes with jealousy, and Harry awkwardly dances with Parvati Patil. It's teenage angst with magical flair. The final task ends in horror. Harry and Cedric touch the Triwizard Cup, which is actually a portkey leading to a graveyard. There, in a ritual of dark magic and horror, Voldemort is reborn in full form. Cedric is murdered, Wormtail is rewarded, Voldemort summons his Death Eaters, many of whom were never truly gone. This moment changes everything. The innocence of the early years dies with Cedric. Harry witnesses murder firsthand, and the Ministry's denial further isolates him. His trauma and resilience define his growth from here on. 1995, Order of the Phoenix, angst, bureaucracy, and badassery. Year 5 is a masterclass in systemic failure and youth rebellion. Voldemort is back, but the Ministry won't admit it. Their propaganda machine paints Harry as delusional and dangerous. The Daily Prophet becomes the magical tabloid equivalent of fake news. Enter Dolores Umbridge, an icon of oppressive bureaucracy wrapped in pink cardigans and kitten plates. She turns Hogwarts into a dictatorship, banning practical magic and torturing students into silence. Her rise reflects real-world themes of authoritarianism and the weaponization of rules. Harry forms Dumbledore's army, a secret group where students learn to defend themselves. This subplot is beloved by fans because it gives agency to young witches and wizards. Neville, Luna, and Ginny all come into their own. Luna Lovegood joins the crew, whimsical, wise, and deeply empathetic. She embodies radical kindness and shows that being different isn't a weakness, it's magic. The climax unfolds at the Department of Mysteries. Harry and his friends fight Death Eaters in a surreal, otherworldly battle. It's chaotic, high stakes, and tragic. Sirius Black is killed by Bellatrix Lestrange, just as Harry finally had a family again. The fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort is cinematic gold. Fire and water, wisdom and wrath. But even more important is the emotional fallout. Harry is traumatized. He's angry, isolated, and grieving. He learns that love is what the prophecy was really about, not power. And with that, his leadership begins to crystallize. 1996, Half-Blood Prince, potions, past trauma, and the plot thickens. Sixth Year is equal parts romantic comedy and looming doom. The Death Eaters are openly attacking the wizarding world. Diagon Alley is no longer safe. Muggle bridges are collapsing. The war has begun. Meanwhile, Hogwarts becomes a sanctuary of bittersweet normalcy. Romances flare, some awkwardly like Ron and Lavender's slobber fest, others more touching like Harry's growing feelings for Ginny. Hermione's emotional arc shines here, balancing her intellect with vulnerability. Ron's jealousy and insecurity are also brought to the surface, forcing him to confront his identity beyond being just a Weasley. Harry receives Snape's old potions book, filled with spells and annotations. It helps him excel, but also sparks moral dilemmas about power and trust. One of the book's spells, Sectum Sempra, nearly kills Draco during a bathroom duel, a shocking moment that shakes Harry and highlights the danger of unchecked magic. Dumbledore finally shares his biggest secret, Voldemort's Horcruxes. Through memories, we dive into Riddle's origin, the Gaunt family's bloodline, his obsession with immortality, and his transformation into something inhuman. The ring, the cup, the locket all become clues to unmaking the Dark Lord. The climax on the astronomy tower is chilling. Draco, assigned to kill Dumbledore, hesitates, proving he's not a killer. Snape steps in, bound by an unbreakable vow, and casts the fatal spell. Dumbledore falls, the Death Eaters escape, and Hogwarts loses its protector. Snape's betrayal fractures the fandom and Harry's world, but behind the curtain, there's more than meets the eye. And Snape, the most morally grey character of the series, just became a linchpin to everything. 1997, Deathly Hallows Part 1, Horcrux hunting and existential crisis. No Hogwarts, no Quidditch, no safety net. This is a road trip through despair. After Bill and Fleur's wedding is attacked, Harry, Ron and Hermione vanish into hiding. Their journey to destroy Horcruxes takes them across the country through forests, rivers and snowy wastelands. The Locket Horcrux begins to affect them psychologically, amplifying doubts and fears. Ron's departure causes a heartbreaking rift in the trio. We also get the tale of the Deathly Hallows, 3 legendary magical objects that symbolize mastery over death. It's a myth that becomes central to the endgame. The Elder Wand, Resurrection Stone, and Invisibility Cloak aren't just tools, they're temptations. In Godric's Hollow, Harry visits his parents' grave, a quiet, emotionally raw moment. He also meets Bathilda Bagshot, who is, surprise, actually Nagini in disguise. It's horrifying and symbolic of how corrupted the world has become. Ron's return and destruction of the locket marks a turning point. The sword of Gryffindor appears when it's most needed because it imbibes that which makes it stronger. It's a metaphor for the trio themselves. The film ends with tragedy, Dobby's death, a free elf killed while rescuing his friends. His final words, "Such a beautiful place to be with friends," stab every fan right in the soul. Voldemort, meanwhile, claims the Elder Wand from Dumbledore's grave. The balance is shifting. 1998, Deathly Hallows, Part 2, Hogwarts Warzone and the final battle. We begin with a Gringotts heist. Dragons, vaults, deception. The trio retrieves Helga Hufflepuff's cup, another Horcrux, and escapes on a dragon's back. It's visually epic and thematically vital. Rebellion in the heart of a corrupted institution. Then it's home, Hogwarts. The school transforms into a fortress. The Order returns. Teachers take up arms. McGonagall comes into her full, majestic power. Neville becomes a general. And Luna speaks truths no one else can see. Snape's death is haunting. Voldemort kills him to become the Elder Wand's master. But in his last moments, Snape gives Harry his memories. The pensive reveals his true story, his love for Lily Potter, his promise to protect Harry, and his role as double agent. This revelation redefines the series. Snape isn't a villain. He's not a hero either. He's something rarer, a deeply flawed man who made a promise and kept it. Harry sacrifices himself to destroy the final Horcrux himself. In Limbo, he meets Dumbledore, who explains everything. Love, choice, and the final great mystery of death. Harry returns alive, and the final battle begins. Voldemort is finally defeated, not by brute force, but by his own failings. His inability to understand love, loyalty, and humility. Neville kills Nagini, the last Horcrux. Harry defeats Voldemort by mastering wand lore and rejecting the Elder Wand's temptation. The series ends 19 years later. Harry, Ginny, Ron and Hermione send their children off to Hogwarts. Albus Severus Potter carries 2 legacies of courage and sacrifice. The epilogue gives us closure, nostalgia, and a glimpse into a world rebuilt by love. 8 films, 7 books, dozens of major character arcs, countless tears, and one noseless villain. The Harry Potter saga isn't just about magic, it's about trauma and triumph, family and found family, the power of choice and the strength of love. Let me know in the comments which moment hit you hardest. Was it Snape's always, Dobby's last words, or maybe Neville becoming the sword-swinging hero of Hogwarts? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this timeline with your fellow Potterheads, and let me know in the chat what you want me to break down next. Until next time, mischief managed.